All right, guys, welcome back to the show. It is another episode, another day, another dollar, and I'm pretty excited to have on a good friend of mine that, hey, once again, we've come in contact through social media, and we never shook hands in person, but that might be changing pretty soon. But other than that, we've got to know each other over the phone, through text, and all that good stuff. So I'm glad to introduce to you today, Jared. And Jared, I'm not gonna chop your last name up because I don't want to. You go ahead and tell me how you say your last name. Pronounce it for
All
me.
right, so it's easier than it looks. I'm gonna tell you how to remember it. Okay, so it's a French name and it looks a little bit confusing there at the end, but you pronounce it Serigné.
Serigné. Okay.
And the way to remember that is like when you serenade someone, just get rid of the D,
Oh.
and that's the way it sounds. So
Oh. Okay. That's easy. All right.
yeah, I told you.
So Jared Serigné, born and raised in Violet, Louisiana. That's actually my youngest daughter's name is Violet. I don't know if that's how
No
it's actually
kidding.
pronounced for you
Yeah,
guys.
that's what we say. We just say violent.
But kind of just go over a little bit of the bio for you guys listening in today. Like I said, I'm pretty excited about it. Um, he's born and raised in Louisiana, and so there's so much there that I want to know about and learn about. But a little bit about him. He said he basically didn't start hunting until his 20s and had no idea what it was really like, and then went all in. Basically, it sounds like a lot of us duck hunters just went full bore. Once you start and realize how fun it is and how great it is, then you basically just go all in. And that's a story of all the duck hunters' lives, it seems like. But graduated from University of New Orleans in 2007 with a degree in film, which, by the way, Jared has a YouTube channel. You guys got to check it out, Outside the Levees. And he's grown, I think, very well, and he puts out very quality. So you can definitely tell that he's been in the industry for a long time. He decided to start a video production business and eventually found work filming in the outdoor industry. And it fit right in with his passion. Like, I can definitely attest to that. I know what he means by that. And then you just built relationships and in the industry. And then you do video marketing and promotion for Gatortail Outboards. And then you also do freelance videography. And hopefully I'm not stealing your thunder. I kind of want to just give this introduction for you, Jared. But
Yeah, man.
you also
Appreciate
produced
it.
a regional outdoor TV show for 8 years. And now, like I said, he started that YouTube channel, which is doing great, super high quality, fun to watch. And the dude, I don't know if he claims to be a chef, but some of the stuff he cooks up, like, I'm like, dude, you need to be working in a 5-star restaurant or something. But and then he's married. His wife's name's Tia, and he has 2 sons, Milo and Jack. So officially welcome to the MVM show, Jared.
Man, I'm excited. I love everything about California. I love what you're doing there. I love that people don't understand what a sportsman's paradise California is. Like I just grin. I'm like, you have no idea. That
Yeah.
place is like, I mean, just look at what you've been doing lately.
Hmm.
Like right after, the fact that you hunted ducks as much as you do. Now you're hunting turkeys. Like people don't understand that.
I
So I'm
know.
excited to be a part of that, and I love seeing how far you reach outside of that as well. So I'm happy to be here, man.
Well, I got a confession to make. The turkey is on the 3 scoreboard, and I'm on 0 still. God.
But that's what they do. That's what they
Oh,
do, and you're fairly new to it, right?
yeah. I've only been. This is like my 3rd season, and being as new
Yeah,
as I am at officially trying to get into turkey hunting, I've done it different times, but I've never been like serious
yeah,
about it. I think I'm real tough, and I got to go into it with archery hunting. And it's like today, I would have had one today. I was close to one. Totally would have been dead if I had a shotgun, but I've already
yeah,
shot one with one. So now I'm just like, you know what? It's fun and everything. It's by no means I'm as passionate as I am about duck hunting, but yeah, he
yeah.
would have been done. He dead to rights, but not with the bow. I just couldn't take the shot.
You hunting with a decoy?
Today, no, because they are so skittish. Because opening day was Saturday,
Uh-huh.
and they're hardly not calling at all. So it's really hard to locate them. You're basically glassing to find them, and
Uh-huh.
basically stalked in. I can't believe I even got as close as I did just stalking them, because I
Yeah,
set up for 2 hours at first light. They didn't want to come by the way that I was at, so I was like, oh, I'll take a quick gander, and I seen them over there. And actually, believe it or not, I don't want to spoil it much, but it's okay. Um, these two toms, they're both monsters, big and long beards. One was a little bit bigger than the other, and they were thrashing each other. There was like 4 hens.
What?
Yes, I got it all on video too.
It's so crazy. Dude, they get after it too.
And here's what's weird. I got a question.
Dinosaurs.
If you've been doing it very long, you can maybe answer this, because I thought, for the most part, when toms fight, I thought they spur each other.
Usually they lock necks, right? Like
okay, that's what they were. That's what they were doing today. They were chest to chest, and in fact, they were about 400 yards away when I first seen them in this meadow. I'm like, what in the world? I could tell it looked like a turkey, but then again, I thought, well, maybe a coyote. They're fighting or he's attacked. I couldn't tell with the naked eye, so I grabbed my camera. I zoom in, and I hate to go all the way into this, and you're the guest on here, but it was so crazy. I zoom in with my 20 power camera, and it's 2 toms. They are chest to chest.
That was your opportunity.
Right, well, listen to this. Yeah. So they're chest to chest. Their heads, I wouldn't say are wrapped around each other, but they are like locked, and they're falling over. I didn't know about what you just said about them locking up, but they're falling over, and they never separated. So I'm thinking, my mind's playing games on me. It's like I can only imagine what new duck hunters think when they see certain things because they're not used to it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on here? And I'm like, wait a minute. This is my chance. I grabbed my bow, and I went on a dead sprint right at him. Well, I'm not going to tell the rest of the story, but anyways, I got within 45 yards, and these stupid hens busted me and broke up the whole deal.
Yeah, they're good for that.
It's crazy. It's all on video.
Yeah, but the thing about archery on turkeys with that, the decoy should, if like I started using just like that kind of quarter strut Jake. Mm-hmm. And that's a guy they look at and they're like, I could beat that dude up, and he's already like for whatever reason, that's one that they're pretty good about wanting to fight.
Really,
and that's your opportunity to get drawn back. If you're gonna stick with bow hunting, turkeys. So
yeah,
I've never bow hunted them. I just I just like to kill them. So
yeah.
And man, I feel like I've watched a lot of videos too where like they really have to go looking for a turkey after they shoot it with a bow, and it's not like there's a big blood trail and all that. So
yeah, I know. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe if I have some bad experiences where I shoot and they get away or something, I probably would niche, throw it in.
But if you own turkeys, that's more than half the battle,
Yeah.
Like, so you're already doing good.
It was fun. Like some people think, oh, if I had a gun, I could have did this, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, but the reward's not going to be as good. I mean, it still is. Like, trust me, I wanted to bring a turkey.
It's gonna be.
I wanted to bring a turkey home today, but like the reward is going to be pretty sweet when I finally do get one. So, and a little bragging rights amongst the buddies. So,
hell yeah.
All right, enough of me. Let's get into Louisiana duck hunting. I mean, I don't even know where to start here. Maybe you can help me out because there's just.
Yeah, man, I'll kind of talk about what I know, So I think if you look back over the course of maybe like the last 20 years, Louisiana used to lead the top 5 to top 3 of harvest, ducks during duck season. So we'd be, the state, one of the top 5 states with the most harvested ducks. I'm sure some years we were number 1. I know some years you guys were number 1. But anyway, this was a place that ducks just naturally came because we're at the bottom of the, I think we have the Mississippi Flyway, the Mississippi River Flyway, but also I think we have some of the central, maybe like right on the western side of the state. So like we had, we're at the end of 2 flyways, and the Mississippi River Delta, close to where I live, was just like prime habitat for a long time. Just natural, good habitat, things they wanted to eat, had plenty of room for them to rest. And then the western part of the state, they were growing rice, so they had everything they needed over there. So like this was, the place to be. And just so everyone kind of has a basic understanding, so we live on and around a delta. Well, the delta was, that's some of your newest land in the entire continent. And so it was the first land to go when sea rise and wetlands loss started happening. So we've lost about 1/3 of all of our wetland habitat,
Wow.
probably since like the 1920s.
Wow.
And the reason we lost it is it's a few different reasons. One, so like the habitat was built by the Mississippi River. So every spring you have these like big floods and the entire continent drains. Well, all that sediment drains with it.
Mhm.
The sediment gets down here, it settles out and forms land. So that's like how Louisiana was built, more or less. So I'm at the bottom part of that where like that land is, fairly new and, 10, 15,000 years old. And, it started to wash away since we leveed the Mississippi River in the late 20s to prevent it from these like catastrophic floods. Well, that was your building tool. That was your resource that built everything we have. So when they levied that up, it could no longer build. And then they came in a few years later when oil was discovered in the wetlands, and they started dredging pipeline canals. So let's say they find a well out in the marsh somewhere, out in the delta or offshore, and they want to run from the well, they want to run a pipe to where it needs to go. Well, they would come in and dig a trench, because the pipe it's a straight pipe. It doesn't curve like a natural, bayou or a natural, part of the river. So they would cut a straight ditch throughout the marsh and lay this pipe down to get from the, oil or gas well to where it needed to go inland.
Mhm.
And that just filled with water, and they never like went and dumped the dirt back and filled that ditch back in. So they basically went all across the coast and sliced and diced it. And what happened with that was it let salt water come in even faster, and salt water can kill a more freshwater marsh. So over the years, habitat started dying, wetlands started washing away, and ultimately it's affected the habitat for ducks. So we used to have tons and tons and tons of ducks. We still get a good amount, but they had less habitat, especially after the big hurricanes Katrina and Rita. So that's where we're at now. Still very good duck hunting, still one of your top duck hunting states, but we're seeing a decline for many reasons, but habitat loss is one of them.
Well, this may be a stupid question, but how did Hurricane Katrina affect? You're saying it affected the habitat because it just ripped
So
it just ripped it
basically what
up,
happened
or?
during Katrina, like, you remember New Orleans flooded and all
Mhm.
that. So the reason all that flood happened was that she was such a big storm and she was slow moving. She built up a huge surge. Like on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, that surge was like 31 foot. I think when it hit where I live here in Violet, it was like came in at probably 15 foot, which means it was probably hitting our coast at, 25, 30 foot.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can imagine that wall of water and that force of nature coming over these wetlands that are already degraded and already not being replenished by the Mississippi River, and it just freaking wiped them. So you've got acres and acres and acres, 200 acres that used to be like pocketed marsh, now converted into 80 to 90% open water. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So that pocketed marsh used to be your duck habitat. It provided protection in places they wanted to be. So after Katrina, now your habitat's completely open. It's completely changed. And they just started adapting after that, I guess. They either found different places to go or, and then we added a lot more hunters over the last 15 years too. So pressure went up, habitat went down, and now you're seeing the result of it.
Well, okay, so I know I'm getting deep into this a little bit. I'm just curious. So
Yeah, I'm getting pretty deep into it too.
the salt water as it's coming in, and those waves are coming in to knock that habitat. So obviously it's ripping it up. If it's weak and degraded, right? It's ripping it up, and it makes it open water. But why can't after it's done and it washes back out grow back? Are you saying that salt water basically took over?
Changed it. So like a marsh, you hunt marsh. A marsh consists of pockets of water and piles of marsh grass and land. So once that like pile of marsh grass and land is gone, the daily tides turn it all into the same depth. So it's not like that, that like
I didn't think about
mound
that.
of mud or those pockets of mud where the grass grew. They're gone. They're washed away. They get into the water column and they wash to the top part of the basin. So it's just gone. It's not there anymore.
Gotcha. I was thinking more if the salt water
And
was blocking
in
it.
history, the river would just replenish it. Like you'd have big hurricanes like that. The river would be like, all right, cool. Over the next 500 years, I'll just rebuild all that stuff and it'll be fine.
Mm.
But that process doesn't happen anymore. So the duck habitat in South Louisiana is forever changed at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen so much, including your channel, which was some really good videos about that and good information put out there. Like I said, guys, you need to check that out. Really, really good channel and very interesting. And to top it off, he cooks good at the end, so it's awesome to see people with whatever game they're harvesting, they can do something with it. So, well, let me ask you this, Jared. Were you taught that by your parents or just all the friends or just something you like to do? Like, how'd you know how to cook all these different things?
So, while I didn't grow up hunting, I'll touch on that real quick too. So, my family lineage kind of starts in the bayous. Like, it didn't start in the city. So those folks, they had to live off the land, and that really went up even until my grandpa's generation. Growing up down on the bayou, and then when they would supply the markets in New Orleans with seafood. So it's always been a deep part of my heritage. However, as like things got more modernized, I think like my dad's generation, they didn't do all that stuff with their dads.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad didn't really take to it. So it was almost lost completely at my generation. And just for whatever reason, I think, what I think it was like, I didn't grow up around it. We didn't really do it, even though it was around. When I moved back from Katrina, so Katrina sent me kind of like on a 1-year hiatus from Louisiana. But when I moved back, I was like so happy to be back and just happy to be around our culture again. I started dipping into the hunting and fishing part of the culture. I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I wish someone had shown me this. And I just, like you said, went all in, got obsessed. But I had always grown up around food culture, being from, I grew up 20 minutes from downtown New Orleans. And New Orleans is one of the food meccas and cooking meccas of the entire world. So I think everything we did revolved around food my entire life. And my mom was a really good cook growing up, and all the local restaurants had really good dishes, and like there was all these like unique special dishes about Louisiana that I grew up around. So I just always had an appreciation for good food. Like I always wanted
Me
to go.
too, brother.
Yeah, I always want to go the extra mile when I'm preparing my food. Like I don't want to make bland food. I don't want to make half-assed food. Like I want the food to be like something you ate at a restaurant. So that was something I always had. And so it was really just a matter of taking the stuff I was hunting with and trying to make it and match it like the restaurant food. And sometimes that worked and sometimes it didn't. But that's what I wanted. Always, it was going to be good. I wasn't just going to do it halfway, wrap it in bacon and throw it on the grill. I'm like, no way, there's got to be something, So it really went hand in hand with the way I was brought up and how good of a cook my mom was coming up and just the local restaurants. I mean, you got to realize we have crawfish boils on the weekend, like as gatherings, so it's like almost all of our weekend gatherings were centered around food coming up too. So it's almost like if you grow up down here, the bar is already set and raised for you to understand food and to appreciate food and to know how to cook.
Yeah, that one video you did with, you guys went out to that, you went out in the bayou and you were out on that, I don't know what you guys call that. It's like a floating, I don't know if it's floating or just how you guys, it looks like it's floating. But I say houseboat, but that's not what it is, I'm sure. Where you guys cooked up all that food. I know you do that a lot, so you're probably like, what are you talking about? Man, what was the name of that video?
I am trying to think of what you're talking about.
It was a bunch of you and your buddies.
The guy who told the story about the truck being down in the ramp?
No, I got to probably. Well, I'm
there
trying to remember what you guys cooked
around the little camp.
Oh, the one on the barbecue one you're talking about?
No. I'm talking about the one. I think I know which one you're talking about. You're talking about the one it had the gumbo at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah. Those are like we call that a camp. So anytime there's like a little cabin out in the woods or in the marsh, we call it a camp.
Yeah.
So it was on a very stable little island out in the marsh.
Okay. Oh my goodness, that food you guys were cooking out there,
I know.
and just the way you
I know,
guys
but
like.
that's what you grow up around. So regardless of whether or not you hunt or not, you grow up around that type of food and that like regard for cooking. Like
It's
you
got to
better
be a
come with it.
culture,
If you
right?
invite people to come to your house and cook, you better come with it. You can't like
Yeah.
it's got to be good.
I mean, this is a funny question, but like, I've asked you this before. Does everybody know how to cook good there? It seems like, unless it's
Not
just the people you're
everybody.
around.
There's definitely some people who take it more serious than others. Like, or you get like a lot of people who their mom was a good cook and they didn't learn from her, you know. So now it's like they still kind of depend on mom to cook,
Yeah.
and that's not going to cut it. Once you get your own house, you got to be, you got to be able to throw down. So
Throw it down. Dude, no, another one you did. You guys were smoking some stuff with those guys. They had that uh, portable. Well, it wasn't a smoker. It was
yeah,
like
so
a.
that was two guys who've like devoted their lives to barbecue.
Yeah.
Phil Wingo with Pork Mafia has traveled around the world teaching barbecue classes. He sells that line of seasonings, Pork Mafia, and then the other guy, John Haney, he's kind of on the other. He does the barbecue thing too, the competitions and stuff from time to time. But he builds these like really cool grills. He's like back ordered for a year. So I took those two dudes. I'm like, all right, y'all gonna take this wild pig and let me see how y'all do it. And they really didn't do it very much different from what you would do domestic pig.
Mm-hmm. I was you guys. You had my mouth watering. So one of the questions I want to ask, and I'm sure it varies on region and where out you're at, but what's the predominant duck in Louisiana that is kind of the main thing harvested?
I think number one is gadwall.
Okay.
Um, that's our mallard. You know, the gadwall's our mallard. That's your duck that you probably see the most of. People probably enjoy to hunt the most. I think number two, I'd have to look. It's probably green wing teal, but for me, it's blue wing teal. In fact, number one for me personally, the area I hunt is blue wing teal.
Okay.
We'll hold blue wings from September to now. You know, there's still blue wings in our marsh.
So you're getting very plumed out blue wings then, if you want.
Oh yeah. By
Okay.
about December, you should start seeing some trophies show up.
Yeah. Okay. So do you guys
I've
have a
seen
lot
them
of
early as
people?
November, but
Do you guys see people coming from out of town just to harvest a blue wing because they've never shot one before?
no, it's funny you say that, but no, I've like, I don't know why. I don't know if it's like people just don't. That's not a bird they care as much about or whatever. But
That's weird.
yeah, like it's rare. I know. It's rare to hear somebody like, yeah, I got to go to Louisiana to shoot my blue wing. So
Well, that's good to know it's that common, but because at some point, if I wouldn't have had shot one, I would have came there because I did not shoot my first blue wing until I think it was 3 years ago. After
was it a
20 years
good
of
one?
hunting. What's that?
Was it a good one?
Oh yeah. No, well,
Yeah.
let me rephrase that. So a pack of 5 came in, and Thomas shot, missed, and they did their flare up. At least they do here. I'll have something to say about that. But they went straight up, and that's one of my favorite shots. Right, they're flushing up, and I doubled with 2 drakes. Well, it was early season, so they weren't that plumed out. But I ended up shooting a nice one later on, and then now it
Gotcha.
seems like more guys are getting them. So it's just the cycle because.
Yeah.
We went through some years you wouldn't never see any widgeon. And then the last 2 years there have been so many widgeon. And then you go through some years, like I was talking to you, I hadn't shot a cinnamon till in like 3 years. And then this year we shot so many. My goodness, we shot so many. And we shot some last year too, but it was just nuts. This year was over the top. And I'm sure part of that was because of weather and stuff. But
yeah.
I was asking that because like you said, I commonly hear a lot about, okay, blue wings, central flyway, and you're saying you're on the edge of both the Mississippi and the central. So it's like, I don't understand and get why, if you're having birds down there, as far as blue wings goes, to that time, that would be, to me, it sounds like one of the best places to go to shoot your blue wing because they don't stick around in Kansas. I know that till late season.
Yeah, I don't know. And look, I only know a few guys who are chasing that. So like, I even know
That's
a lot
true.
of the guides around here. I've never heard anyone say, "Yeah, man, I get a lot of guys coming down who want to shoot their blue wing." We do get a lot of guys coming down who want to shoot their mottled duck.
Mm.
But I haven't really heard a lot of people come here to shoot their blue wing, so it is a good place to come. Like I said, I've shot a beautiful plumed out blue wing as early as November.
Wow. So now, speaking of mottled duck, you had my ears ringing right there. That's one on the list I got to get. I mean, is it still pretty hard to harvest, or is it fairly easy?
Man, they live here, so like they know exactly what a duck hunting setup looks like. You can
Okay.
catch them slipping definitely early in the season, or like early in the morning before it's real too bright. You can catch them slipping, but they're probably the most frustrating duck we have because like you'll see them coming, you're like, oh, they're coming, and I can call it. I'm like, they're not coming because they see that duck hunting setup, and I think just at that stage too, like they don't want to be around that many ducks. So when they see that many decoys, they're like, that's not for me.
I'm
So
bouncing. Yeah.
you could definitely, like, if you made it a goal to come down and shoot one, we could get you one, but we
Really?
may have to change tactics, like, and just focus on the model duck. So if I was going to do that, I would leave like my bigger pond, and I'd go to some little potholes and kind of hunt them with like maybe 4 decoys or no decoys.
Hmm.
Just being a pothole that they like.
So I got another question for you on the mottled ducks. How do you feel? Do you feel like they're smarter than mallards, or because I people talk about black ducks, I kind of all think of them in similar smartness, and being wise and stuff. But I've heard some people say, "Oh yeah, black ducks are really hard. They're really smart," and then some guys are like, "Oh, we can get them pretty easy." How do you feel about mottled ducks?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're extremely frustrating because they see it that you're in their house. It's not like they migrated there; they live there. You know, so like I think they know what a duck hunting setup looks like, especially like a few weeks into the season. It seems like early we're able to trick a few, but after a couple, a week or two of hunting, they're like, yeah, that's duck hunters. That's duck hunters. I'm going to this little pothole that I visit every day when y'all aren't around, and I just love seeing people like think they're gonna trick them. I'm
Hmm.
like, dude, put the duck call down. You're not like it's not gonna happen. So yeah, I mean, I think they're smarter. If
So,
not smarter, they're just more adapted to the environment because they live there.
well, as far as decoys go, like you said, using a small spread, I know we've had to do that with mallards at times when they, like you said, when they get smart. We'll put one or two out, and maybe three, and we'll put them a little bit away from us, and probably won't
Yeah.
use a spinner because they know what those are. On a model duck, what kind of decoys are you using? And like you've already kind of said tactics a little bit, but what's some of your
So
tactics?
this is the thing. Like, it's rare to see a group of more than 6 model ducks together. Okay, just
Okay.
naturally. So I think that's part of it. Is that like they get around these decoy spreads that are 12 and 24 or more ducks, and they're like, yeah, we don't like even being around that many ducks.
Mm,
So if I was to do it, I would just go with like, if like I really couldn't get them to, a lot of times you are able to pass shoot them in a situation like
okay.
that. Like they will
Okay.
come quite, just closer. But like, say you came down and you're like, dude, my only goal is to shoot a mountain duck.
Yeah.
Well, we schedule out, let's just say 3 days. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, let's start off the first day just on a normal hunt so you could shoot some other species. And if like we don't even see one, maybe the second day I'll be like, all right, let's go in these little potholes and try them there. And I would, if like I knew you were coming in on that trip, I would definitely buy some black duck decoys
Oh, okay.
and just use that because
Okay.
that looks like a model duck. It's plenty. A black duck decoy is plenty close enough to looking like a model duck. I wouldn't put out like
Hmm.
mallard decoys or something like that.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, that brought me something else up then. So that's good to know those tactics on that. Now, when you say small potholes and you're gonna hunt those, my thoughts are, what is it like in your guys's potholes? How's the mud? How deep's the mud? How sticky is it? How deep's the water? Like all of that. Like I'm trying to see what
Yeah.
that's
So
like.
like the vast majority. So getting back to the Katrina thing. So Katrina took marsh that like may have had pockets and potholes and turned it into a lot of open water. And that open water is shallow. It could be 1 foot or less deep, but it's open water. So the way a lot of us hunt, we hunt in that open water.
Mm.
And I personally will build a blind out of just brush and pull my entire boat into it. I have a gator tail motor with a shallow water aluminum boat, and I just pull the entire boat into that brush pile and hunt that way. Most days. Now, in most situations, that's like I said, probably a foot of water or less with like really organic mud with no bottom. Like you can't step off and expect to be able to walk.
Wow.
So like there are
nice.
some places with like where the bottom has like maybe 6 inches of silt and then it starts to get a little firm, but that's rare. Like if there's a spot on our coast that you can walk in your pond, you might want to go buy a lottery ticket. You know,
Really?
like it's that, you know, I don't want to say that rare, but it's pretty dang rare.
That just burns. That makes my legs just ache just hearing
But
about
now
that kind of
you
mud.
see why the gator tail was born here, you know, and you know, the surface drive, that's why, because like your only other option is to dig your way through that stuff with a, you know, a push pull or a canoe style boat called a pirogue. So when they had developed a motor that could go through that stuff and do it efficiently, that's when like people are like, oh, that's how you're supposed to get around in this stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, like hearing about that mud, like we'll have places that are easy. I mean, it's like a dream walking in because it's a refuge, right? It's just it's taken care of, and there is bottom to it, and it's pretty solid. And then you'll go to some places, of course, there's gonna be a bottom, but they'll double and triple plow it, and I mean, it's going up to your knees, and every step just about feels like it's ripping your hip bone out of the socket. So that just makes me cringe hearing about that mud right there. So that's what I was going to do is roll right into the boat situation. I have not yet, but the Delta out here, everybody uses boats out in the Delta, maybe probably kayaks too, as for duck hunting I'm talking about. But I'm just curious because there's miles and miles and miles of waterway here in the Delta. How is it there in Louisiana when you grab your duck boat? Because you pretty much said it. If you're going to duck hunt in Louisiana, you need a duck boat, is what you were basically telling me the other day.
You don't need one. I mean, you can get by with, you know, a regular aluminum boat and outboard. And we call our canoes pirogues. They're not exactly a canoe. It's got a flat bottom, but, you know, you hear me say that word again. I'm just explaining what that is. So you can definitely hunt that way. And there are some places where that's probably even better, but a lot of us are hunting those marshes that Katrina tore up, so you just have these like long big pieces of, you know, like I said, 1 foot or less water where you have to run a half a mile across that stuff to get to your spot. So
well, that's what I was going to ask is how deep, if this makes sense, from the coast will, like, so go to the actual coast where you're all the way at the ocean inland. Yep. How far can you have to run just to go from land to the outside edge of the coast? I mean, could that be a long ways sometimes?
For me, it would be really long ways. Gosh, I don't even know. Probably about 90 miles or so, I would think.
And that's all wetland.
Don't quote me on that. I think New Orleans is 90 miles from the Gulf. So I'd probably be more like 75 or something like that. But
and that's all bay.
That's
all like wetlands and bay.
Yeah, it's all wetlands.
Wow,
all wetlands.
That is
wetlands, large bays.
Huge.
Yeah. So if I plan on being in the Gulf, I'm going to drive my truck at least another 20 miles from my house. But we like to, if you can access the Gulf, we like to go to Venice, which is like kind of the last settlement on the river. And then you're not too far from the Gulf from there. I'd have to look that one up, but I think from Venice straight down the river, it might be like 20 to 30 miles. But don't quote me on that one. I'm not 100% sure. But it's not. It's like once you drive to Venice in your truck, you've cut the majority of the distance you need to travel by boat.
So what would you say that's your kind of favorite duck hunting? Maybe species or style, or like what do you like to do most?
Man, I like what I just said. You and two buddies, and pull that mud boat into the brush pile and just cut up and have fun from there. It's we hunt almost all private land, so you're not like trying to beat somebody there and get your spot and all that. Your spot's already yours. You pay for it. So Yeah, I mean, there's just something about that, like those first few, those first month or so of the season where it's like you and the buddies haven't done it all year. You're getting that mode. The hunting's good, so I really, really enjoy the cultural, social aspect of the duck hunting here.
That's so true.
I'm down for like a hardcore adventure, like
Yeah.
public land, go find them, all that, but it's just more so that like cultural deal.
Hmm. Well, explain that. What's your idea of the cultural deal?
Like I said, man, it's like it's togetherness, it's gathering, it's so many people down here do it at our boat launches in the morning. You're seeing this guy and you're seeing that guy, even though y'all aren't hunting together. It's like I may not have seen him since last duck season. So hey man, how you doing? How's the kid? Blah blah blah.
Mm.
And then you go on your hunt with your closest friends, and or family or whatever, and it's like so then you're in there together, little boat ride, shoot some ducks, go home. It's November, December, we got nice weather, football's on TV, you're throwing something in a pot, letting it cook slow in the oven,
Hmm.
like going to these camps, these cabins out in the marsh, out in the woods. So to me,
Yeah.
it's those social aspects of the duck hunting that I like probably more than
Shooting a duck.
break the public land, chase wherever they are. Like I'd almost rather go to the same spot every time and shoot what's available and be able to enjoy all the social aspects of it rather than like waking up at 2 a.m., beating everyone there, beating
Yeah.
everyone to the spot, maybe having a really epic hunt because you did that, but at the end of that, you're drained. It's just I like the social aspects of duck hunting. I'm probably
Hmm.
might be a little bit more hardcore of a big game hunter, like more willing to do that, the
Mm.
big game. But for ducks, I really just like
Mm.
hanging out in the blind with the buddies.
Yeah.
Now it's
Yeah.
about making these YouTube videos. So
By the way, how do you like trying to film and duck hunt at the same time?
I always hated filming duck hunts, even when I was just the cameraman.
Oh man.
I probably hated it more that way because like it's such a challenge. They're
Hmm.
so small. They come in from a distance, so you're trying to focus on them at a distance. You have brush in your way.
Yep.
As they get close, you got people shooting around you. Blowing your eardrums off. Like, and the footage is not that great,
Yeah.
honestly, just because of the nature of how they fly and what they do, and you don't know which way. Even when you're on them and you're like, let's say they come in and somebody shoots and they start to flare, so you're like, oh, this is the closer, and he's gonna shoot that one for sure, and then he shoots the one 3 ducks
Oh,
down,
I know.
and you didn't get the shot. It's
Hmm.
like so yeah, it's frustrating. I need to get even after all this time. I still need to get better at it. I still need to probably utilize those like the action cams more because like those are gonna get it. Even though, see, here's the frustrating thing about that though. Like you wear that GoPro on your head, well, damn, that duck looks like you can't even see him in the
Right.
end video.
Right.
So dude, it's frustrating. Now the shot
Hmm.
cam changed the game for sure.
It
Like,
helped a lot. A lot. Because that cleans up, you can even not even get on a clip and get that, and people are happy with that, and you're happy with that. I mean, but yeah, kind of going back to something, I kind of skipped over that because I was just going to ask you that. But on the cultural thing, from what it sounds like to me hearing you talk, it almost sounds like everybody in Louisiana is a lot more easygoing and sociable and kind and friendly to each other. Is that true, or is that you still got those guys out there that want to fight and chase each other? You know what I mean?
yeah, no, it's definitely yeah, it's a jolly place.
Hmm.
Like we may not have the best social systems and government and all that, but we damn sure gonna have a good time. We're gonna eat something good.
Hmm.
So I think
Even with
and
strangers, just
especially the
strangers and
type of
everything, huh?
people who what's that?
Even with strangers, like you saying, seen guys at the
Oh
boat
yeah,
dock you
yeah. I
haven't
mean,
seen.
there's you hear it all the time. People who came down here to hunt, and people just open their doors to them,
Wow.
and fed them something and made sure they had a good time. So I think that's part of whether you hunt or not. That's part of that like New Orleans, East
Yeah.
South Louisiana Cajun culture.
See, and that's something to be said though that I wish I was just better at. Like I feel like sometimes I go to places out of state that the culture's like that about it's all about just eating good food and like sitting on the porch drinking sweet tea and it's like I go, you guys entertain so good. It doesn't seem like they do much it's not like they're doing much, but it's like how they do it and how they approach it makes you feel at home. You laugh a lot. You're just having a good time. It's like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I feel like I'll do my best if I have people out here to entertain, but it's just something different. It's like something in the air, or like you said, something different. It's weird.
Yeah.
Kind of like
I think
my North and South Carolina.
You want to showcase it too, right?
Mm.
Like if you were to come here, I'd be like, man, I want to show him, shrimp po' boys, and I want to, show him this. So it's like you're trying to, you have a pride about where you're from, so you're trying to showcase it.
Yeah, and you just nailed it. That's probably why it's like that for me. Is because I like California weather. I like California hunting. There's so many things about California I love. I'm an hour and a half from the coast. I'm an hour from the mountains. I'm an hour and a half from the sand dunes. I mean, like, you can go anywhere and do anything here, and the weather's great. But I guess a lot of us Californians that are good people that, like to do these type of things, we are frustrated with just how things go on. So I guess that could be sometimes take away from the pride of it, It's just like,
right.
Like, oh, where are you from? And you're like, California. You don't, and it's not because California is bad. It's how it's run, and the politicians in the really big cities, and because I mean, trust me, I've been out of state in other states, and when you say you're from California, they look at you like you're Satan himself, and it's like, hey, man, you do know that we have 70% of our land is ag land. I mean, we're farmers. We're farmers. We're growing crops, and we do an ag, and we're, good old country people. It's like, it's not all San Francisco, like, LA. And I'm not saying good people don't live there. I'm just saying, like, that's the mindset is big city, and rude people and blah, blah, blah,
Right. And a lot of people don't realize, like, a lot of people who live in California aren't from California, and it's rare you find like multi-generational Californians. Well, down here, hell, man, I mean, our folks started arriving in the 1700s, so it's a lot
deep-rooted.
Deeper roots, deeper roots, and that culture's been established for longer. But dude, I loved California. Like, I stayed there a little bit after.
What were you doing out here?
I stayed there a little bit after Katrina. So like, I was in college during Katrina, and the University of New Orleans had to shut down because of, flooding and all the damage and all that stuff. So I found this national exchange program where, like, they have like foreign exchange. You go to other countries. Well, this was like just national schools across the country. And I was like, well, damn. I looked at the map and I picked the closest school to the ocean. I was like, I just want to go live on the ocean for a few months. That'd be awesome. California, CSU Monterey Bay.
Oh,
that's where I wound up.
Yeah.
And when you get there, and like, I felt like, I guess when you grow up around cities that big, everybody has to like have a little bit of personal sacrifice. Like, you almost have to like sacrifice a little bit of yourself for the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like most everybody in California was like that. Like, they just, that was just part of who they were. So like, I remember we go to get burritos, and like, everybody's eating, and these dudes are like, here, try mine. And they shared like this, they like took a bite of the same burrito. And I, like, for me, whatever reason, I was like, oh, that's what people in California like. Like, I felt like there was, and I could be wrong, but I felt like
no.
No? Okay. Yeah,
we don't share each other's food. I don't even let my wife eat off my plate, man.
I've never seen anything like that before. I'm like, I guess there's just like a brotherhood.
No.
Everybody feels like we in this together, I guess. I don't know.
No, man. That just gave me the willies hearing that right there. Hey, I don't even let my wife eat my food.
Reason, like, that spoke to me, and this is what spoke to me too. So like, I'm getting into the dorm room. I'm meeting, like, it wasn't a dorm room. It was like, we each had our own room, and then we had a living room, and there were 6 of us in there. So like, I'm meeting everybody, and there was one guy who was there from Southern California with his parents, and I had met the mom first, and like, I was like, yeah, I'm here, blah, blah. She's like, oh, you went through Katrina? I'm like, yeah. So then the dad comes in, and she's like, oh, Bob, come meet Jared. He's here from New Orleans, and he went through Katrina. And the dude, I swear to God, he looks at me, and he goes, oh, bummer. And I was like, that's California.
Oh, he said bummer?
Yeah, that's what he said. Like, not like, oh, man, did you lose your house or whatever. He's like, oh, bummer. I was like, all right,
Oh
cool. I'm
yeah,
in California now. So
that's
that was
totally
like one of the
California.
other, besides like sharing the burrito, that was one of the other things that stuck out to me. I'm like,
That's
that's cool, you know?
so funny, man. That's so funny. It's like first impressions are everything, right?
I
Like,
just felt like people tried to get along out there. I could be wrong, but I just felt like it was like there was just more of this like collectivism, you know, less individualism and more collectivism.
hmm. What do you mean? Like, as far as people out here, you're saying they try to get along, like it was hard for them to do, or what do you mean?
No, more so like I said, it's just, you know, down in the South, I think like while we all are friendly and all that, it's like there's a lot of emphasis placed on being an individual and your personal freedom and what's right for you and your family. Whereas like I felt like they were like more like what's best for all of us, you know, what
Mm.
sacrifices can we make to make it better for all of us.
Oh
And it's
yeah,
just,
yeah.
you see what I'm saying?
Uh
Like
huh.
it was like, and look, it's hard to reflect back on it because it was almost 15 years ago now, but I remember that stuck out to me for whatever reason, and that's what I'm saying about the burrito. It was like he didn't look at it as my burrito. At that point, it was our burrito. I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh, that's so nasty, dude. I cannot
Yeah, I
believe.
don't
I
know.
don't think I've
And, you
had.
know, people in college are dumb, so
Oh,
like maybe that's all it was.
that's
But
the big part of it right there.
I had
But
never seen anybody in Louisiana say, "Hey, dude, this burrito is really good. You want to try it?" You know?
no, I've never seen that myself. That's why I'm like wondering if that's some type of beach bum deal. Like I know a good buddy of mine named Caleb. He did some filming with us last year. Incredible guy, great photography and all that stuff. And I'm gonna have to ask him about that because he's like from Santa Barbara or somewhere down. I'm gonna see like, hey, you guys share burritos down there? He's probably gonna be like, what? What are you talking about? Oh my
But I was
goodness.
trying to use that as a way
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
describe, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just
yeah,
I just felt like there was like this weird brotherhood.
yeah,
Whereas, like down here, it's like, okay, I'm gonna take care of me and my family. You take care of you and your family. If something goes
yeah,
wrong, give me a call.
yeah,
You know. Whereas, like, I felt like them. They were like, okay, we're a big society here, and you know, there may be things we need to do to make it best for everybody.
yeah.
So.
Oh, it totally is like that. But
But I loved it. Dude, I had it. Like, it would be if I ever
so
like
did you
had
ever eat
a
a
top
burrito?
choice of place to live, that would definitely be high on the list.
So did you ever share burrito?
I don't remember. Like I probably, you know, I might have been like, well, if that's how y'all do things. Here, try mine. You know, I really don't remember,
Oh
but
man, that's so
I
funny.
did discover horchata. That was freaking
Oh
awesome.
yeah, dude. That's some good
Yeah.
stuff right there. So did you get to eat at any good taco trucks and all that good stuff?
I mean, dude, we stayed on campus for a
Mm,
vast majority of that. So like, we just ate campus food, and
mm-hmm.
if we went off campus, there wasn't. You know, I remember there was like one taco place we would go to, but definitely wasn't the food culture. I'll say that.
Yeah. Taco trucks aren't really big over on the coast. They're more like
No,
Central
I don't
Valley.
remember seeing one, honestly. Now, when
Mm,
we got to Southern California, you'd see stuff like that.
mm.
I went and
Central
visited there a few
Central
times.
Valley is a dime a dozen, and they're all pretty good actually. You just gotta watch out.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, there's those bad ones that'll get you. But man, I'm trying to. I mean, we've been going for close to an hour now. I feel like we haven't even scratched the surface.
I know.
I don't
I
know
know.
if there's
I knew it was
anything.
going to happen.
I know. And it's. I always feel like the first podcast with somebody is always just the icebreaker, and then you get down to the meat and potatoes later on the next one. So we're definitely gonna do another one. Is there anything that you want to say or mention before we wrap this up? I feel like there's.
Well, I just, you know, it's cool seeing what you do on YouTube. It's good for guys who are just starting out like me to see, okay, you know, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, if you work on these things enough, they can be successful. So I do enjoy watching yours for that reason, but also it's a good channel. You know, you do a good job. I love seeing the dog work, and you're a good shot. You know, watching shot cam. So just want to thank you for taking interest in mine, even though like yours is huge compared to mine. You
No,
know, um,
no,
so
no,
I
no.
appreciate that.
No, I didn't mean for you to have to say anything like that. I was just saying if there's anything else from
No, that's
Louisiana
what I'm saying.
hunting. So,
I
no,
wanted to stop and thank. You know,
no, I appreciate that.
I always try to express gratitude. You know,
And just give you guys a little sneak peek. We'll see how this goes, but we're gonna probably be having Jared come on the channel, a little collab that we're gonna have going on that I think you guys are really gonna like. It involves a turkey and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I'm gonna cook a
keep it at
turkey burrito, and I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna
and
pack
take a
it
bite
up
of it,
fresh.
and then send it to
I'm
me,
gonna
and
take a bite. I'm gonna pack it up fresh and send it to you, and you're gonna have to take a bite of it too. And we shall forever be bonded as burrito brothers.
Burrito brothers to the end, my friend. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. Well,
That is
yeah,
fun.
other things too. I don't want to say there's some involvements there with Jared that we got going on, but I'm going to keep that under wraps. So you guys just have to be in the dark with the whole situation. But I really some really cool big stuff's coming up this year. I cannot wait for
I
duck
know.
season already. I was good. I was like 3 weeks in after season. I'm like, I'm pretty good. I need a break, and yeah. 3 ducks, 3 mallards locked up and landed in a little sewage pond the day I was watching. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, see, if I'm out in the turkey woods, I could care less about
Really?
the duck, man. Oh gosh, it is my favorite animal to hunt.
Really? What?
Yeah,
Like, okay, so
duck
what is it
hunting's
for
my
you?
favorite style of hunting, just
Mhm.
because of the social aspect. But the animal that is the turkey, he's so amazing, man. And the fact that like he'll talk to you, and you can talk to him, and you can influence him, and he can influence you, and then there's the chess game of like what move you're gonna make.
It's
And maybe because it's so short-lived too, like it's not nearly as long as duck season, and
yeah, maybe.
it's like the only thing, because like during duck season I'm focused on deer hunting too. If we see a pig, we're gonna shoot a pig. But like during turkey season, I am focused just on him. Like I'm obsessed with him. And then just that noise of him being in that tree, waking up gobbling, like, dude, I don't know, man. Gosh, it's I love it, man.
You talk about them like we talk about mallards cupping up into the decoys. Hey, you know
Hey,
what?
that's good too. It's all
Yeah.
good. That's the thing. It's all good. It's all good stuff.
Hey,
so now I'm invested. Like in your deal, I can't wait to see you blast one with that freaking bow.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. After today, it's not that I lack confidence, but I did think to myself because I am getting it in them. But my thoughts were, I wonder if I will harvest one. Will I break down and say, oh, I'm just gonna use my shotgun? Because I know I can get one if I use a shotgun. I feel like that anyways.
Try to decoy. Try to get you a quarter strut Jake.
Okay.
Try that.
Okay.
Because he's gonna see that, and dude, if he's got any type of dominance to him, he's gonna see that little Jake trying to puff up and be like, "This is my lady." Dude, he's coming in.
I guarantee you today,
him long enough for you to get drawn back.
If I would have had that,
like you're saying, these birds are already like call shy. That kind of surprises me for Rios, especially.
But it is. Well, I'll tell you this: when you have a meadow, and I've never seen it like this. This is the first year, and I've talked to guys that done it for a long time. So I'm only 3 years in, so I can't really I don't have a lineage there. But I was talking to guys that have been doing a long time out here, and they're saying there's literally like 5 times as many guys out there hunting as normal. And that was just opening day. But I've never seen nothing like it. Travis was out there, and he said there was literally like 6 other groups in the same meadow. And I'm like, why would you even want to hunt with one guy in that meadow, let alone 5 other groups? That's insane. Like, that's really crazy.
You can't get off and get away from the crowd.
No. Well, not right. The opening day is just nuts. Like any other sport, it seems like.
That guy in your video, that killed me. with the black sweatshirt.
Okay.
Like, what are you doing, dude?
As you as being a professional turkey hunter, is that normal? Like, I was like, that doesn't seem like something you should do.
That is like rule number 1. You wear camo head to toe. I wore a brown hat the other day, and I felt like an idiot.
Oh, my goodness. Like, I was like what in the world?
He'll pick that. Now, maybe what you said made sense. There was a burn, and he maybe thought it was still a burn, but it sounds like he's just a goober, honestly.
I hope that guy don't watch the channel and sitting there. I mean, I didn't say nothing bad about him.
Hey, maybe he's the best, and he knows something we don't know. But he looked like, we call it a kuya, like a goofball.
Kuya.
And I'm watching. I'm like, look at this kuya.
I love you guys' lingo. You gotta teach me some if I ever get down there one of these days. You gotta teach me some of that lingo. I actually hunted with a guy, a group of guys in Canada, and they were all Cajun guys. And dude, he was actually Tabasco's chef. They call it something chef. Charity chef. Well. Something to do with, he was Tabasco's main head chef, and I'm thinking, why does Tabasco need a chef? But he was there.
They're freaking billionaires.
He said it's his head chef, and oh my goodness, that guy cooked for us one night because really he didn't need to because obviously they paid for the trip.
Right.
Oh my goodness, that guy could cook so good. But anyways,
Yeah.
all his lingo, he would say things. He was super strong though. His accent was strong.
Come on. Wow.
But you guys probably, I'm sure when you get together, you all kind of get a little bit stronger, huh?
Yeah, like mine's not too bad.
It's not.
My wife's got a little bit stronger one than me, but like if I'm at like the camp or drinking a few beers, you'll be like, who is this guy?
Well, hey, wish me good luck on this turkey season. As a guy named William that works for Tetra, he was telling me about the story of this guy that hunted this same gobbler, and it took him 84 tries to kill him. So I'm really, really hoping that it don't take me 84 tries.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you damn near had him today.
Oh,
so
you know what? I feel like I just kind of blew it. I just feel like I was aggressive getting in there, which was good. It worked out. But then at the last second, I tried to get just a little bit more because of Bo, and that little sucker.
Right.
Their eyes, I've never seen.
Did they bust you? Oh, the hens did. That's right.
Well, the hens kind of did, but then they didn't seem. It's a long story, but it's all documented. But like, it's
well, I'm following along. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna shout you out when I finally I did it, Jared.
Please do.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Okay, buddy. Have a good one.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.